go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is where we left off last week. Just so everyone knows, if, for some reason, if I don't voice blast you, we still have class. I recorded my voice blast, and the people just forgot to send it out. They didn't get my text, so I know people are calling and saying, "Do we still have class?" Yeah, regardless. But here's an announcement, though. Next week is my kids' last week before summer's up. So I'm taking them to Disneyland, okay? So because of that, I'll be training Mickey and Minnie how to do commercial real estate next Tuesday. All right, so there is no class next Tuesday, okay? There's just normal class. So for those people who come to normal training, there is normal training from the tech department. We're going to be showing you some really cool technology apps and stuff like that. So if you get used to doing something on Tuesdays from 11 to 1, then come for our training with our staff, okay? But at the same time, there is no commercial training next week, 11 to 1, but then we'll resume the week after. Okay, you guys got that? All right, so let's continue here. So last week, just to give you a recap, we're starting to go through the different types of commercial property. Okay, we're starting to go through all the different types of commercial property. We started with office and what makes office unique, and then we moved on to retail. What makes retail unique? Okay, whereas last week when we talked about office needs, retail needs a little bit different because why? Because retail, AM, PM side of the road, ingress, egress, traffic patterns and stoplights. These are things that make a big difference on retail. We talked about, well, why? Well, because if you're a gas station, people are getting to work and need to get some gas. They don't want to have to go and make a U-turn and cross the street and get out of the road that leads them to their freeway. They won't go do that. Why is it AM traffic is important for places that sell coffee? Starbucks wants Dutch Bros. They want AM traffic because people tend to buy coffee in the morning, right? They don't buy coffee in the evening as much as they buy coffee in the morning, okay? So because of that, coffee shops and donut shops and those types of things that cater to breakfast, they normally want to be on the AM side of traffic. Now things like grocery stores and places that you go to on the way home from work. Oh, I'm going to pick up groceries on the way home from work. No one picks up groceries on the way to work because you don't want groceries sitting in the car all day long. Does it make sense? So people normally pick up groceries on the way home from work. So you'll see a lot of grocery stores. They don't care. They don't mind being on the PM side of traffic. Make sense? Right? So you're a bar. You're a dinner place. You don't mind being on the PM side of things, okay? But if you're a donut, you cater towards breakfast, you want to be on the AM side of things. Does that make sense? So that's called AM traffic, PM traffic, okay? Ingress and egress is very important. Like these days, if you're dealing with, pads, a lot of pads, they want drive-through. So let me ask you, what's a pad?
Like Dutch Brothers.
A Dutch Brothers is their own little pad. A McDonald's is a pad. Okay, there are standalone pads that are very easy drive right off the road. Does that make sense? Have you ever? It's like if you go into an In-N-Out, you're not driving deep into a shopping center to get to that In-N-Out because you want to get in, you want to get out. You want to go in and you don't want to go in and have to fight all this traffic to get to the drive-through. Does that make sense? So pads are generally placed, right next to the road. You turn in, boom, you hit the drive-through right away. Then with the drive-through, you go out the drive-through. Make sense? So that's called ingress, egress. So when you're doing commercial real estate, there's things that you look for because your client wants a certain type of property, right? So those are the things. So last week, and this is just a recap, just to get you guys freshened up. We're not going to be covering all of what we did last week. For those of you, if this is your first class, by the end of class here, we'll be circulating around the sign-in sheet. We do take roll, okay? If you are taking this class from your computer, then make sure you put some comments on the, you put your name and your comment Normally, what we do is when you sign in on the webinar, you sign in with your name. So sign in with your full name on the webinar, please. Okay, and then we will go in and see who attended the webinar, and that's our attendance. Okay, so if you are on webinar, because there's a lot of people on webinar as well, make sure that you sign in with your full name so we can keep attendance on webinar. And then we have a sign-in sheet that's circulating in the back there. And Joe, if you don't mind, maybe at the top of the hour at 12, maybe we'll just circle around a room.
Okay.
Let us circulate around, and you guys just sign in, okay? And this is how we take roll, okay? All right. Believe it or not, I keep the roll sheets for all of our commercial trainings, because even though you do take a final at the end, if you miss all the classes, why am I going to give you a final when you haven't even been to class? You know what I'm saying? So, but you can make up the class. So if you're a student in the class and you miss a day, we normally record all these trainings, okay? Or if you wanted to freshen up, all you have to do is send an email to Sadruddin, and he'll send you the links for the classes that we've already taught. Okay, so if this happens to be day 1, then later on, send Sadruddin, who's our tech manager, send him an email saying, hey, can you send me the classes, class 1 and 2, he'll send you the links to take the class, okay? So you can watch it. All right, so last week we talked about different types of retail, freestanding retail. We talked about neighborhood shopping centers, community shopping centers, and regional centers, okay? All right. Okay. So these are things that people are looking for in a shopping center. Okay, so next we'll talk about industrial, multifamily, institutional use. All right, so I'm going to go through this part sort of fast because we have a lot of slides, and I do want to get to the meat and potatoes of things, is how to do stuff. Like there is a day, like I mentioned to you, there's a day where we're just going to be focusing on LOIs, okay? There's going to be a day where I'm going to show you, and we're going to focus on LOIs and contracts and offers and that good stuff. So I do need to get through these slides sooner than later. So another form of commercial real estate is called industrial, multifamily, and institutional. Even though those are actually 4 different types of property, I sort of bundled them up because they're sort of similar. And we'll talk about them, okay? Industrial is manufacturing, is industrial, okay? So that an example I gave you last week is Apple. Apple has, a retail division. You see their Apple stores, right? You see their Apple stores, but then at the same time, Apple also has, their manufacturing divisions, right? So all of the, that big plant over there off Laguna, that's Apple's industrial location, right? And they probably have hundreds of them throughout the country. And then Apple has their office locations, right? Their office locations are where the heart of the business takes place. All of their marketing department and their research and development departments and their accounting departments. I'm sure they have a building just for accounting and paying all their staff. Does it make sense? So Apple, a big company like Apple, has a need for office. They have a need for manufacturing and warehousing, right? And they have their own need for retail, right? And technology. You see? So when you're dealing with a big company, literally you're dealing with a company that needs a lot of different things. Does it make sense? If you start doing big time commercial, when you have one company, you might be an agent that represents that company in many different aspects of things. Does it make sense? I mean, I've seen agents make a living representing one client. I've seen agents make a living representing a single client. Does it make sense? Like for example, one of the guys that I used to know, he represented and Link, there's places up front too. If you okay, yeah. There's plenty of places here if you want to hear. Okay. I had a friend that represented a big developer, and the developer was they developed like all types of commercial real estate, and he ran his whole career with one client. every time a client wanted to buy a piece of land and develop it, he'd be the agent that helped him secure the land, and he'd be the agent that helped him get the contractors together and develop that piece of land, right? Okay? And in addition to that, once the land and the property was developed, then he'd be the agent that helped lease that land to the tenant, right? And that was ongoing. Well, what if your client and this agent, what if your client happens to be named Buzz Oates? I'm not saying he was the agent for Buzz Oates or not, but what if your client was named Buzz Oates? Or your client was named Angelo Soukopoulos? Does it make sense? You see? The thing is that, once you build a relationship with a client in commercial, okay, it's not the same kind of relationship of building a client in residential. Residential client, they buy a home, unless it's an investor client, they buy a home, they live in the home for 8-9 years, and then 8-9 years from now, when they're ready to sell, they call you. Commercial's not like that. Commercial, your client could be Starbucks. I gave everyone in class 1 a very powerful example of build-to-suits. Jason, there's a spot open right here, brother. Yeah, come on in. Okay? There's a table right there. All right? So build-to-suits. I remember that this agent, this friend of mine, okay, they do build-to-suits for Starbucks. And I mentioned that in class 1. Okay? And the build-to-suit for Starbucks was amazing because when Starbucks needed to expand, you know what they would do? All they would do was pull up all the demographics that Starbucks needed because when you're a commercial agent, you need to know how to analyze. Okay, so like we have a whole day set up for the commercial math. All right, there's a whole day set up for commercial math. Return on investments, net operating income. You have to understand that. Okay, you have to know how to break down financials on a hotel. Okay, so I'll show you what a hotel financials look like, and we have to look at it and know how to break it down to determine what? Determine net operating income. Okay, so there's formulas to everything we do. So the math is important, but when we're doing commercial real estate, this guy, he understood the math so well. He said he understood what Starbucks is looking for. Okay. So he's someone that does build-to-suits. So what he does is he goes and researches locations, and he follows national growth patterns. So when there's an area that's starting to grow, like for example, areas with new home communities are growth areas, right? Okay, new shopping centers are new growth areas. Okay, so what he does, he just follows those areas, and it's easy to follow those areas because how do you follow new growth areas? You know how you follow that? You follow that by going to county planning. Every time someone wants to build something, you know what they do? They have to go to county planning and put in permits for tentative maps and building permits, right? So as the builders pull their building permits, you sort of know where things are going. You guys understand that? See, when you're smart in this business, then you keep your investors ahead of the curve. So you start going down to county planning, and you start pulling permits. You start looking at what permits have been pulled. Does it make sense? If someone wants to build 1,000 homes, they just don't go build it. They have to go pull the permits to build it. And the permits start with the tentative map. They have to submit the tentative maps, and then you get the map approved. If you know that 2,000 homes just got approved by Lennar Corporation, you know that U.S. Homes and those builders are coming in, right? So you know that area is going to be a great area 2-3 years down the line. So this one broker that works, with these franchises like Starbucks, they look for new expansion areas. And what they do is they build the suit for them. Okay? There's companies that are franchises that love a certain type of location. So what these guys do is they just build the suit. Crazy, because they buy land for like, they'll buy a piece of land. They'll spend $1 million to build the building. They could be $1 or $2 million into that project, building done and everything. And then the moment they sign on Starbucks as a tenant, then Jamba Juice follows, these other big tenants. And these are credit tenants. Now in class 1, I talked about credit tenant. What does credit tenant mean?
It's like an anchor, right?
A credit tenant is not an anchor tenant. Anchor tenant is a huge tenant. But a credit tenant is a tenant that brings, that no matter what, you always get paid. Okay? It's like the government is a credit tenant. Okay? And I'll give you a taste of commercial math. Okay? I'll give you a taste of it. Okay? For example, I'll give you a taste. There's something in commercial real estate called cap rates. Okay? A cap rate is what determines the value of property and what kind of return that the client wants. Okay? So let's say, for example, let's take our math here. So I'll just give you a quick sample of cap rates. Okay? All right. If you guys don't have a pen and a pad, then go get a pen and pad from the front desk. Go get a pen and some paper from the front desk if you need it. Okay. All right. But this is how it works. Okay. So let's say example, you have a 10,000 square feet pad that you built for a little strip center. Okay. All right. If this 10,000 square foot strip center that you're building, okay, normally a strip center is leased out on what they call a triple net basis. Okay, on a triple net basis. All right, and this is what it means. Okay, so like for example, if you have a 10,000 square foot shopping center, okay, and that's a little strip center. Okay, and let's say it rents out for $2 per square feet. Plus triple net. Okay, plus triple net. Okay, how triple net works is that when you rent out a space plus triple net, that means that you're paying the landlord $2 a square feet, but you're responsible for all of the cost involved in insuring property taxes and maintaining that building. And the triple net cost is shared amongst all the tenants. Does it make sense? Okay? So like for example, office normally doesn't have triple net. Office charges a CAM. Okay? A CAM. C-A-M. Common Area Maintenance Fee. Okay? In office, you deal with CAMs. In retail, we deal with triple net. Okay? That means that if someone leases a restaurant in a retail center, the agent that you're dealing with will say the rent is $2. Okay? $2 net. You in your head, you don't understand what they just said. So your client just leased this 4,000 square foot restaurant at, let's say, $2 net or $3 net. So your butt told your client, yeah, you're paying $12,000 a month. And they go to you, $12,000 a month total? Yeah. They said net. So man, I'm happy. I don't need paying $12,000 a month. All of a sudden, when the bill comes, the bill's $14,000, and they go back to you and say, well, hey, wait, hold on, time out. You told me $12,000 a month. Now I'm paying $14,000 a month. What happened? And you're sitting there going, I don't know. It was just supposed to be $3. No, it's $3 plus triple net. Triple net is normally calculated in an area, just a certain amount of money per square feet. So they say, this area is $2 square feet plus triple net. So your question is, how much is the triple net? And then he goes, oh, okay, triple net is 30 cents a foot. So in reality, you're actually paying $2 plus 30 cents a foot. That make sense? Okay? Now the question is, do these two numbers ever change?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. This $2 changes, okay, with annual rent increases because of inflation. So they might say it's $2 square feet year one plus 5 cent plus 0.5 cent annual increases. So you might see that. Or you might see $2 square feet plus annual CPI increase. The CPI increase normally on 3% increases per year. Does it make sense? So this base rent, it does change. Now, does triple net change? Yes or no?
Well, I have a question.
And triple net does change. Hold on a second. Triple net does change. Triple net changes when? Triple net changes when property values go up and the property is reassessed for taxes. That might change. Now, are you the only person that pays it? No. It's divided amongst all the neighbors. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? So triple net does change. It changes, but triple net is not meant for the landlord to make money. It's not a profit center for landlord. Make sense? As their taxes go up, they have to recalculate their triple net.
So it probably wouldn't be by too much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
never by that much.
Yeah.
Normally, when we structure a lease, we put caps on how much triple net can go up. Okay? Because, and I'll tell you why. Why? Because sometimes, if there's no caps built into triple net, the owner, the landlord, will sell their shopping center, and a new owner, like Ethan Conrad, a new owner comes in, throws in their new roof, all new pavement, all new paint. They'll spend $200, $300, $400 million onto the building, and then they will pass along all that cost to the tenant to pay for.
But Robert, if there is 10 tenants and 2 moved out, then they increase too or no?
No, increases, you have to take all the square footage for the whole entire center, and then you divide on what the triple net increases are for the whole building as a whole. I mean, let's say there's only one tenant. You're gonna make that one tenant pay for the whole thing? No. Okay, so it's divided per square feet. Okay, that's the per square foot share. So if half the whole shopping center is vacant, it's not like the half that's occupied has to pay the full triple net. No, it's not like that. It's divided by square feet. Okay, so that one tenant can't just be absolutely bombarded with cost. No way. If you're vacant, you're vacant. Okay, you guys get it?
Triple net is only taxes, or you said it's?
No, triple net is all costs associated with the taxes, insurance, and maintenance of the building.
Outside utilities.
Yeah, everything. So triple net covers insurance, triple net covers property management, watering, landscaping,
Like
taxes.
HOA.
Yeah, everything. Everything outside,
And-
not inside.
Yeah.
Don't confuse that with inside, okay? It's, oh, I have triple net, so I don't need to buy insurance. No. There's building insurance that covers the outside of the shell of the building, and there's inside. If you own a business and you don't have your own business insurance, then basically, you know, they say in insurance, if you take the building, you turn the building upside down, everything that falls, you need to buy internal a business insurance for. So when you turn a building upside down, what do you cover? You cover the desk, you cover the computer, right? You don't cover the carpet. The carpet won't fall, it's stuck. But if there's a rug, it'll cover the rug. You know what I'm saying? Right? So if you turn a building upside down, then there's business insurance you buy. Well, why do you buy business insurance? You know, if there's a break-in, there's 2 separate claims you make if there's a break-in. Right? There's a claim for the shattered front door. That's the building's coverage. And then there's a separate claim for the computers that were stolen. That's 2 different insurances. People think that's one, but it's not. It's 2. Like we have to buy 2 insurances. We buy insurance that covers the building, and we buy the insurance that covers the assets. Make sense? Right? Yes.
So then the building insurance covers inside walls as well. And like
Yeah, I mean, if you turn the building upside down, the wall don't fall out.
right.
Okay? So that's the structural insurance. It's like in real estate. When you buy a house, you buy the house. Do you buy the furniture? No. Right? See? But in residential insurance policies, you buy insurance policy, it covers the contents, it covers the home. In commercial, so when you're working with commercial clients, and this is good for you to know, I mean, I'm just rambling because I'm giving you information that's not on my notes here, but when you're working with a commercial client, they always have to buy 2 policies. If they buy a building, they have to buy a policy for the structure, and they have to buy a separate policy for their business. Most commercial owners, they don't understand the difference. How many people knew about the difference, and how many people knew about the difference? Some of you, but not every one of you. Make sense? If you're in commercial real estate, you don't know the difference, and your clients are out there uninsured and they get robbed. I was like, for example, I've seen people make the biggest mistake by not informing their client. They need to buy 2 different policies for their commercial business. I mean, I've seen restaurants burn down, you know, and I've seen businesses burn down, and the building got burned down, and they're wondering why things aren't covered. Does it make sense?
What is the CPI used to say?
CPI is Consumer Price Index. Okay? Yeah.
So on the triple net
Mhm.
insurance, how much of the insurance covers the building? It's always
No.
strip mall.
In triple net, the insurance that's factored into the triple net is the structure insurance. For everything, the tenants in a retail shopping center still has to buy their own insurance for all the contents and their business itself.
Inside.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, the insurance you buy for your business covers your desk, it covers your inventory if you have a retail location, it covers, you know, the clothes, it covers, you know, the Louis Vuitton, you know, boxes of Louis Vuitton shoes are in the bag. If a Louis Vuitton burns down, then all the purses get burned down. Does that make sense? It covers the computer, and if the computer gets stolen and you lose all your software, it covers the software that's inside your computer. Make sense? Okay, that's business insurance.
So structural insurance, if you're talking about standalone,
Yeah, it's a separate insurance. Like if someone throws a rock through the window, that's structural insurance. That's not business insurance.
So what if the business owner is leasing a property, the building owner has to have that structural insurance?
Yeah.
Then what if the business owner damages the inside walls of the property? Does the building owner have to
Well,
pay for insurance?
if the tenant, here's your answer. The tenant is not a good tenant. They leave and they just sit there and take a hammer and start hammering all the walls. And yeah, the owner of the building will file a claim for vandalism. You know what I'm saying? For the structure, right? You know, it's not covered under the tenant's, you know, business policy.
So you were talking about cap rate, is that how you get cap rate?
No, okay, so what are the first things you do, okay? Is in order to understand and get a cap rate, you got to first get down to what the net operating income is, what your income is, okay? So once, let's say for example, we know that there's triple net, so 10,000 square feet times $2, so you have $20,000 a month in income, okay? Operating income. What you would do is you take that and you times it by 12. Okay, so someone with a phone, let's calculate it so I don't have to do it. Okay, so someone take out your phone. Okay, so in this case I can do it, $240,000.
Right.
Okay,
This looks great.
all right. Then there's a little bit more too. The cap rate normally would take out 5% for vacancy. Okay, but in this case I'm not taking 5% for vacancy just yet. Okay, I'm just going to show you the raw number first. Okay, so if $240,000 is your annual income. Okay, so everyone do that, and then let's take out our calculator so you know how to do it here. Okay. Okay, so my calculator is ready out. You take $240,000, which is annual income, and you divide it by a cap rate. Okay, let's divide it by a 9 cap. Okay, so the word is the 9 cap. So you divide it by 0.09. Give me the value of this building on a 9 cap.
2.666 million.
Yeah. Okay, $240,000 annual income annual income at a 9 cap, the building is worth $2.666 million, basically. Okay? That's what basically the building is worth. All right? So a cap rate is if you want a 9% return on your investment, okay, you would buy a building for $2.6 million, and 9% of that $2.6 million you bought that building for is returned to you every year in the terms of income. Make sense? That's called capitalization rate. So if, I'll give you an example. If you buy a building for $2 million and you're looking for a 10 cap, that means that you're looking for $200,000 in income, right, annually from this investment. That's your capitalization rate. Does it make sense? Okay. So, on this building, I worked in reverse. Okay, so you need to work it forward and reverse. Okay? So, when you work in reverse, say, hey, this is a 10,000 square foot building at $2 a foot triple net. So you know that the $2 a foot is income itself, because it's not expensive. If it's $2 a foot, okay, gross, then you have to calculate what all the tax insurance is, and you have to minus that from the annual expenses in order to get your income. Does that make sense? You guys get that? Some small time center might say, I'm just going to rent you $3,000 a month gross. That means that's out the door. Well, then if you're working with that type of property, you need to be able to factor in all the expenses, minus it out, and then calculate what the actual income is, and then give it a cap rate. Does that make sense? Okay? So, let's do this. So you have, this building is worth $2.6 million. Well, in general terms, a 9 cap normally does not exist. Okay? A property that is a 9 cap property, all right, there's something wrong with the property if they're offering you a 9 cap. Okay? Or there's an undesirable area. Or the tenants are very weak, tenants aren't paying, or it's a proposed 9 cap. It's a proposed. It's not an actual. You know what a proposed 9 cap is? It's a building that is completely vacant. And you say, so it's this, there's someone selling this building for $2.6 million, and they're saying that if you're able to find somebody to rent this property from you for $2 a foot plus triple net, you will get a 9 cap. That's called a proposed cap, not a real cap. Does it make sense? Okay? So a 9 cap is a smoking deal, but it's hard to find. 8, 9, well, it's not impossible. Now, can you find a 20 cap? No. Okay? 15 cap? No. All right? But 8, 9 caps you could find, hard to find. So I'll give you an example, okay? Let's go to the way extreme. Let's say you have a 10,000 square foot building, but your tenant is a 10-year lease or a 20-year lease to the Department of Corporations. So you own a building, and one of the government department of corporations, water resources, EDD, whatever, one of those people have leased your building. Make sense? And because it's a government entity, you're working on a 4 cap. A 4 cap. Give me the value of this building based on a 4 cap. Give me the value of this building based on a 4 cap. Okay. Like I said, you just saw all my numbers, guys.
6 million.
Okay. $6 million. This building at a 4 cap is worth $6 million. Isn't that amazing? How, depending on the tenant you have, the building on the weak side is worth 2.6, On the high side, we're $6 million.
How to get that?
Huh?
How to get that?
You just take the 240,000 divided by 4%, 0.04. Okay, a cap rate is just a percentage. 100% is 1.00. 99% is 0.99. 10% is 0.1. 4% is 0.04. So you just take the annual income divided by 0.04. Okay, you get 6 million. Everyone follow me? Yes, Sam. Yeah.
So on the annual income, you have to minus all the expand and then everything.
Because in this case it's a triple net, all the annual expenses related to the building are already paid for separately from the tenant. Therefore, on buildings that go triple net, you could just take the actual rent and that's your annual income. Make sense? Okay? But if you do not do triple net, then you have to calculate and remove all of the expenses in order for you to get the annual income.
So how you determine the cap rate?
Okay. Cap rate is market value. How do you determine the price of a home?
Comps,
Huh?
comparable.
Comps.
No,
Okay.
rental income too.
Huh?
We can put the value with the.
No, but not homes though. Single family, people move in. You normally determine it from comps, right? Well, cap rates, just so you know, it's all the same. It's just you see comps. Example. The latest McDonald's just sold at a 5 cap. Okay? The other McDonald's sold as a 5.1 cap. This McDonald's down the street sold at a 4.9 cap. So you could say, hey, McDonald's is normally going for a 5 cap. Make sense? You know, I'll give you ideas. Credit tenants normally hover around a 5 cap. Okay? So if you have a shopping center with credit tenants in there, you have a shopping center with a Starbucks, a Jamba Juice in there, you're hovering at a 5.5 cap. When I pull up CoStar and I look at those types of properties, all I see are cap numbers. 5 cap, 5.5 cap, 5.25 cap, 5.13 cap. You'll start seeing all the cap numbers. People look at caps more than they even look at price. You guys understand? Because when you buy commercial property, you buy it for income. You guys understand that? Okay, you buy it. This is like when you buy stocks. You buy it for the return. The return turns into a percentage, right? When you buy life insurance policy, you buy it for the annual return. Everything in commercial and in income and in business is you buying a return, okay, of your money. You guys understand that? Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say when you were talking about the vacant tenants, like in multifamily, it's better for it to be vacant than for you to have underperforming tenants.
Yeah, because they're locked in.
Right.
It's like, for example, man, it's better to buy a vacant property in San Francisco than one stuck with tenants that are rent control. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right? Because you're stuck. All right. Like like sometimes like a shopping center will be killed by its long-term leases that are bad leases. Oh man, we're stuck in a bunch of long-term bad leases. You know what I'm saying? So then the cap rate on something like that would be high. All right. Oh man, these are all credit tenants. Cap rate's great. Okay. Okay. So you see how it's not the rent only that affected the value of the property. It's the cap. So like guys like Ethan Conrad, they're so smart because they play with this number in many ways. Okay. For example, there was an investor, McConnell Hughes, is brilliant. Brilliant. You know what they do? They used to buy underperforming centers, or they build cheaper strip centers, and they put, let's say for example, okay, I'm gonna give you another math example here. So we're stuck 9 cap, $2 a foot. This building's worth $2.6 million. So your client comes in there, buys the building for 2.6 market value, and he evicts the bad tenants, and he brings in their good tenants, and his tenants are paying, and he fixes the roof, he fixes the pavement, and now he's able to get $3 a foot for it. What is this worth at a 9 cap at $3 a foot? Do the math for me. Do the math for me. What's this worth? $3 a foot. Okay, get your calculators out and do it.
At a 9 cap,
At a 9 cap.
4 million.
Okay? So, how do you get 4 million from?
I got 3 million.
Okay? So now the income is
3 times.
$30,000 a month
Yeah.
times 12 divided by 0.09. So 4 million. Okay, 4 million. So now the income is $30,000 a month, $360,000 a year at a 9 cap. Now you're at a $4 million property. Okay? So the question is, this is the analysis of an underperforming property. How do you know it's underperforming? Easy. We pull the comps in other areas. You have a shopping center that's down the street from these other shopping centers. All these shopping centers are paying at $3 a foot, and your tenants are paying at $2 a foot. Okay? And the question is why? Oh, why? Because this building is run down. This building is run down. The parking lot is bad. The roof is bad. So he buys it for 2.6, and he puts $400,000 into the building. So he's in it for $3 million. But now he gets rid of the old tenants, and he puts good tenants in there, and he raises the rent. But you know what he does? He raises the rent, but all the people coming in, he gives them 2 or 3 4 free months of rent to make up for the rent increases. So they're happy. Oh, okay, well then, you know, these new tenants come in, they have 4 months of free rent, right? So now there's some good leases. But maybe that's the only thing he also are getting in better tenants. Because these better tenants, he's more careful who he rented to. And these tenants have better financials, right? They're no longer the momsies and popsies. He's got great clips in there. He's got this, you know, he's got Orange Theory in there. Huh? Yeah, they got Baskin Robbins, and Baskin Robbins goes together with Togo's. So you got a Togo's and Baskin Robbins in there, right? Does it make sense? So now you got some credit tenants in there. So guess what else happened? So these credit tenants have some free rent, so they're happy to sign up. They're paying $3 a foot. $3 a foot at a 9 cap is worth $4 million, but these are credit tenants. These aren't government entity, and it's not Starbucks or McDonald's. You know, it is Togo's and Baskin Robbins, which is a level behind Starbucks and Jamba Juice a little bit. But these tenants, they pull in a 6. So tell me what is it worth on a 6? On a 6 cap. Tell me what this building is worth on a 6. What's this building worth on a 6 cap?
6 million.
Huh?
6 million.
So $360,000, right?
Divided by 0.06.
Now it's back up to 6 million again. So isn't it cool at a 6 cap? Isn't it cool how we got to $6 million 2 different ways? This building, if we kept the rent the same, but we rented to the government, and we were able to secure a 4 cap for it, we're 6 million. We weren't able to get government entity in there, but we were able to get the rent raised and get better tenants in there. And even though we're only able to secure a 6 cap, we still got our 6 million. All in that, we only bought it for 2.6 and we put $400,000 into it. We doubled our money. Does that make sense? Yeah.
What's better to have if you were trying to lease it out, like triple net or the CAM?
No, CAM is for office.
Oh, CAM's for office. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You don't do CAM on retail.
Okay.
Because see, in office, you use common area maintenance. Because in office, there is, especially in an office building, there's a lot of common area you have to maintain. Does it make sense? And a lot of times in office, there's common costs for lighting up and heating and cooling that normal common area. Does it make sense? Okay, so office uses common area maintenance, whereas retail uses triple net. And so once you get into your specialty, then you will start learning all the intricacies of the actual specialty. I can't train you on all the specialties. Just so you guys know, we are building a true commercial division here at Berkshire Hathaway, okay? And you guys are very fortunate. You are the future multi-millionaires in commercial real estate, all of you.
That's right.
If you want it to do it the right way. You know why? Because once the class is over, I'm going to have a sign-up sheet, and I'm going to break people into areas that they want to try. So I'm going to build retail groups, office groups, development groups, entitlement groups, multifamily groups, right? And as groups, I'm going to have each of you start learning the intricacies of each specific group. Does it mean you can't ever do anything else? No, I mean, you could jump from group to group a little bit if you want to learn different things. But once you are in your group, I'm going to start coaching you to start going after real life money. So let's say if you are Berkshire Hathaway's new retail group for Elk Grove or for Natomas, then you're the new retail group for Natomas. You're going to work as a team and get all your retail media out, okay? I'm going to open up the Berkshire Hathaway. Now, I don't know if you ever noticed, but we have a Berkshire Hathaway back office just for commercial, and we have all our Berkshire Hathaway marketing materials that you do not have access to. There's a full commercial division of Berkshire Hathaway. I'm talking about full back office, full marketing materials, your brochures, all of your rich content, everything, just for commercial, but it's not open on your side. Raise your hand if it's open for you. Oh, one person. Oh, Michael, you have it open, right? So you know, you've seen it, right? The rest of you is not even open. Does it make sense? And so once you're certified, we will open that portal for you up. We'll enable it, where you go into it and you'll have all your marketing material for all your commercial and stuff like that. So then as a group, okay, then you will start approaching, if you're in retail, you'll start approaching all of the shopping centers and sending them out and calling on the shopping center owners. And hopefully as a group, you'll get 1, 2, 3, maybe 10 listings in a year of shopping centers. You'll start listing them. Does it make sense? And you'll start working together as a group, because I'm telling you, in commercial, people don't work as individuals really. That's why you'll see Chris Campbell work with, and Jim Reed and whatever, you know what I'm saying? They'll work with Scott Caruth. They've been a team for the last 20 years. Okay, so in commercial, you normally work as a team. Does it make sense? Okay, to win this business, because you're out there competing against CB Richard Ellis, and you're one person and they're 3, you'll lose. Does that make sense? You guys got it?
Yeah.
Okay. But as you see, cap rates make a huge difference. Amount of rents make a huge difference. Make sense? You put the wrong tenant in there that's not willing to pay a lot, you're killing your property. Like when you're a landowner and you own a shopping center, it's sometimes better to keep a property vacant than it is to put a bad tenant in there. Because you've locked yourself into a low rent for 5 years. So not only if you have a bad tenant in there, people won't pay you, the 5 and 6 caps, they'll pay you 9 caps. You just literally cut the value of your building down by 1/3. And they pay you low rent, you take it, and rent is calculated on value. It's like, man. Yeah, so a lot of owners say, well, I won't give you low rent, I'll give you incentives. I'd rather give you the high rent, but give you some free months. I'd rather give you high rent, but give you some money to build the property. Does that make sense? Because the money that I give you to build the property, that's just money from my pocket. The money I give you for free rent, that's money income I don't receive. But I'm not devaluing the building by giving you a low rent, because it's the rent that calculates the income and the value of the building. Does that make sense? Okay, so you guys get that? Yes.
So cap rate also,
net operating income is NOI. Okay. All right. So that's the importance of understanding this. Okay. So let's keep moving forward here. So that's a little bit of math. There will be a whole math day that calculates a lot of these. You know, like normally whatever value you get, you normally minus 5% for vacancy. Okay. Normally you would minus 5% for vacancy. Okay.
Why is that? For like.
It's a formula that lenders use.
Okay.
So we're using lender's formula. We normally minus 5% for vacancy. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's keep moving forward here.
I have one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it common or not common, but does it happen occasionally where a listing agent will kind of like apply the wrong cap rate to a property?
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. Then you have to
Yeah,
calculate.
you
Kinda
gotta
like a
figure it out.
residential, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All the time.
And then.
Yeah. No. Don't blindly buy.
So I mean, prior to getting, the property appraised, what's the best way to kind of figure out the cap?
No. You look at their rent roll.
The rental?
Yeah. You look at their rent roll. Exactly what they're paying.
Okay.
Like no. Actually, your question came up just like 7-8 months ago on one of the shopping centers we sold. They advertised a certain income, and then advertised a certain cap rate, and then when we looked at the rent roll, they were calculating it wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were calculating it wrong, and then so we actually caught them on it, and then they ended up having to change it themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and on top of that, there's businesses, especially in hotel, motel, there's businesses where if you buy them based on cap, then the cap's nothing. Because they hide a lot of their income. Does it make sense? They'll pay salaries to all types of other companies. So to really get to the bottom line of what the income is, there's a maze you have to go through. Seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because like some businesses, and it's not they're lying, it's just they're maximizing on tax benefits. So like for example, one hotel that we were in contract, we were negotiating for, but our client ended up not buying. It was like a condo lodge, and they're selling for like $10 million. It was one company that owned the actual building, and they leased it to themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they could add some layers of tax benefits. Does that make sense? So finding the actual income for that place was not easy. I mean, the guy sent me his income reports, and they're all over the place. I was like looking at it and saying, man, this is wrong, what's this? So we have to actually really sort all the way through to find out what the income is, to give it a true cap.
So in that case, would you have to like contact an accountant to help you with that?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
do you
no,
wear the
I
hat
just
to
saw it
become one?
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew how to do it, so I just did it. But if you're not sophisticated, then you have to get a CPA. And sometimes on something that big, you ask for even an audited CPA, audited P&L. Okay, so that's so let's go ahead and go on back to the slides here. So multifamily. So when there are different types of commercial, there's manufacturing, warehousing. Okay. Now the thing with manufacturing, warehousing is a lot of times when you're into manufacturing, warehousing, the things that people need is in the cubic foot. So you know how like retail space, the amount of floor space is what's the most important. Office is the same way. The office is the same thing. But when you're dealing with industrial, the ceiling heights, come into play. Okay, ceiling heights come into play a lot, and cubic foot, because a lot of people in manufacturing sometimes store straight up. Does it make sense? So cubic foot is actually very important. Okay, and the amount of amperage is huge when you're dealing with manufacturing warehousing facilities. The amount of amperage is huge. Okay, the availability of resources like water and waste is big. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you deal with, like for example, someone, Sarb, are you here? No. Okay. Someone called me over the weekend saying, "Hey, Robert, I want to make an offer on a gas station. They're not commercial certified yet." I said, "No, you can't. You got to come in, and I'll sit down with you and make the offer together." Because gas stations have all these things, especially environmental issues you have to deal with. okay?
Yeah.
Well, in restaurants, same thing. In restaurants, you know, disposing of oil is a big deal when it comes to restaurants. And normally you have to carve out oil pits to get rid of grease. Because you're not allowed to dump grease down the drain. You guys know that, right? It's illegal to dump grease down the drain. Okay? So.
How about if a restaurant already has the grease trap built in?
No, that's good.
Then good, right?
Yeah, but then there's spots where the grease trap isn't built in. So when they lease a spot, you have to go in there and you have to see the cost of cutting in a grease trap. Does that make sense? So that's why restaurants normally like to take over other restaurants, because the grease trap's already there. And then the overhead, if they do a lot of grilling and stuff like that, they need to be able to get rid of all the smoke. Okay? So restaurants is a little bit of a different animal. You know what I'm saying? Than certain things. You know, like for example, there's a business that went out of business. It was an indoor surfing. There was a business that was called Surf Extreme, all the way down. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's a Surf Extreme, indoor surfing. When the people started the business, one thing they didn't account for. You know what the one thing they didn't account for was? So these people, they built it, and within a year or two went out of business. It wasn't because a lot of people didn't want to come. You know, it wasn't because they overpaid for the rent. One thing they did not account for was the energy bill. To run an indoor surfing, the machine that they had to build to push the water and make you surf indoors was so powerful that even the city did not have enough electricity to provide to the place. So they had to pay 10 times the power price per watt in order for the city to allot enough energy for them to use. Okay? Does it make sense? That the city had to upgrade all their systems in order just to help you power. So they spent an extra $1 million just to get the city to be able to provide enough power, and the power came at 10 times the cost. The electric bill alone was twice the cost of rent. Does it make sense? You see? So that was a huge mistake that they didn't find out until later. They already put $1 million, $2, $3 million into the facility. And all of a sudden, come to find out, they'll have enough power to power this place. Does it make sense? So there's a lot that goes to building something, yeah.
When they get a permit, do they know that? I mean, when they get a permit from city,
the permit's just a permit. They didn't, even the engineers didn't calculate how much energy it would take. Yeah, and then that's it. So they went out of business, you know? They went out of business. We're working, yeah.
Question on the warehousing, you said it was cubic feet, but I noticed that most people still advertise square footage.
No. You still advertise square footage, but then once you get to the building, they'll also ask ceiling heights and tonnage, gross tonnage for area, volume, okay? All right. Multifamily or apartment complexes, okay? In our company, we consider anything that's more than 4 units people live in is commercial. We consider everything that's bare land. We consider that basically commercial. We consider anything that's over 10 acres basically commercial because those are sort of just unique properties, okay? And multifamily are apartment complexes, okay? Are apartment complexes, okay? You know, normally apartment complexes are sold on a cap, but they're also sold on a per square footage or per door, okay, per unit, and that's how apartment complexes work. Let's go into apartment complexes a little bit, okay. You know, man, there's this company that became a multi-billion-dollar development company building apartment complexes for schools.
Like colleges?
Colleges. Yeah, those are big. Like there's a developer that anytime there's new schools that pop up or schools get busy or full, he just buys land and builds apartment complexes for schools. Man, the per square foot value,
Probably super high.
oh man. You know, like per square feet for an apartment complex, for a good one here in town is normally 180 to 200 bucks a foot. You know, cost you 120 bucks a foot to build, and once it's done, it's worth 180, 200. Does that make sense? So, you know, so that's normal. But man, I have seen apartment complexes for student housing go in the $300 to $350 a foot range. You know that? Apartment complexes for student housing sometimes will go double because number one, student housing sometimes is government subsidized. You guys understand? Student housing is sometimes government subsidized. Okay? All right? Student housing, you know, is normally more expensive. Like for example, man, you can get literally Bay Area pricing here in Davis. I went to Davis. You know, in Sacramento, they're renting houses for $1,500, $1,800. Man, at Davis, you're paying $2,800 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense, but it's the truth.
I went to UC Berkeley, by the way.
How much did you pay?
I used to have a boyfriend who was a geneticist, he was working at Davis, and it's a nice town. But why so expensive in Davis?
It's a college town. I mean, like right now it's funny because, you know, I have clients looking to buy some type of commercial property in Davis. I have, you know, cannot find anything.
Yeah, there's very few.
Davis is in its own world.
Is it because it's prestigious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prestigious school,
I worked there a lot.
so the people that are going there have rich parents.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, maybe it's the truth.
They do, yeah.
They're becoming doctors and attorneys, okay, and it's exclusive, so there's that, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it is.
I've had investors that I don't know how I got them, but reach out to me to try and find an entire apartment complex, multifamily property for their one daughter or son that they just want to buy, make a purchase in that way, and then rent it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah. No. Davis. I mean, it's funny. Davis is the new, like before, a long time ago, it was Berkeley and Stanford. You know what I'm saying? Like in California, it was all about Berkeley and Stanford and UCLA.
Go Bears!
Now Davis is up there. Davis, you got to have like a 4.3, 4.4 GPA in order to get into Davis, and SATs have to be darn near over 1,500. Yes.
Are there other examples of multifamily, or is it strictly apartment complexes?
No, apartment. I mean, a five unit is a multifamily. As long as over 4 units, it's multifamily. You know, there's all types of apartment complexes. There's all types of, you know, there's all types of parcels that have like standalone property on it. But this is more than 5. It's considered multifamily. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? You know, actually, there was a big growing trend of people converting multifamilies and even small hotels into care homes. Just so you know, there's a big trend of that going on. Oh man, that's a big money. Anything like when you're in commercial real estate, like if you could run into a good care home group, if you could run into a very good care home group, man, these care home groups are buying up, you know, multifamilies, not to keep them as apartment complexes, because you know these multifamily units already have bedrooms and bathrooms, so they buy them and they convert them into elderly care facilities. Does that make sense? They convert them to elderly care facilities. And man, it's like, so one of the going things is like, hey, you know, why have a 20-unit apartment complex with all, you know, 2 bedrooms? Man, you know, a one apartment you rent out for $1,500. Why not turn that one apartment with 2 beds, you know, the 2 bedrooms into a 4-bed elderly care facility renting out at $4,000 per bed. You know, just you know, these days, memory care, elderly care facilities, the cheapest beds is around $3,000 a bed. Okay, cheapest. And then of course, depending on the level of care, you know, there's some beds that cost $10,000 a bed. Does it make sense? So people who understand care facilities, you know, they understand a care facility. You know, man, I mean, you could easily get, you know, $12,000 to $15,000 per apartment for income. But of course, you know, a care facility has to be run properly, and then you have to be 24-hour care and all that stuff too. So there's a lot to it. But I'm just saying that when you're in commercial, there's a lot of angles. Does it make sense?
Robert, what is the commission for commercial? Is that the same?
It's normally the same. It's normally the same. You know, I mean, if it's under 10 million, 2 to 3% is normally what it is. Okay, everyone expects a 2.5%, 3%. It's no different. Okay, it's only when you go into like the over $10 million range.
1%.
Huh?
I think it's like 1%, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2% is pretty common. You know, if you go over $100 million, I think 1% is it. I never seen it go under that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but if you're doing a $100 million property, 1%, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good commission. Okay, good commission. All right. Okay. Okay. Investors like investments in urban areas. You know, where there's a lot of people. You know, that have employment. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the things that multifamily clients want to see. Okay. Okay. So these are the things that multifamily clients, reasonable topography, which is that demographics are good, area's good, you know, it's you know, it's not on the side of a hill, so there's all these maintenance. There's good landscaping, it's visible, okay. Because people live there, proximity to amenities is good, easy access, parking in, parking out, you know, there's not a lot of competition, okay. Multifamily in all areas of California is hot, okay, it's hot, all right. Why do you think multifamily is hot? So let's talk about multifamily a little bit. Since we're on multifamily, why do you think multifamily has no place to go but up? Why do you guys think that?
Supply and demand.
Like limited space for development in the bigger cities.
Yeah.
Passive income.
Yeah, it's passive income. Multifamily is really hot is because California had been in like a 10-year shortage. It's actually now it's going on 12, 13-year shortage. You guys understand what a shortage is? A construction shortage? Every single year, okay, California's population gets bigger. It gets bigger naturally because of people being born, okay? It also gets bigger because California is a destination state, okay? It's a destination for jobs. We pay more in California, okay? It's a destination for people because people want to retire in certain areas.
Dream.
Huh?
It's like the American dream.
Yeah, you know, California is a destination for people because high income, because of the jobs, available jobs. It's a destination for people because, you know, it has amenities, it has ocean, it has decent climate, you know, a lot of things. It's a destination. Yeah.
Robert, it's not a retirement state, is it though?
No, but certain areas like Palm Springs is,
Palm Springs,
Malibu is.
It's
Yeah.
not a retirement state. Florida, Arizona.
Yeah, it's not a retirement state, but there's still people moving into California. You know, a lot of people have homes in California just as a second home here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the rich can afford it. That's why it's expensive. You know, the rich don't worry about expenses. You know, and so.
By the beach. Not poor people.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Okay, so because of that, you know, California needs around 120,000 homes built in California every year. Okay? California needs around that many thousand homes. Okay? From the last 13, 14 years, there is not 1 year that we've met that requirement. There were years where we were nowhere close. Does it make sense? Okay, there were years where we were nowhere close. So every year for the last 13, 14 years, we've been building at a shortage. Now, granted, the last 4 or 5 years is not that big a shortage, but the previous 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there was a huge shortage, okay? So the shortage of homes being built makes multifamily a lot more valuable. Because when people can't buy, they will rent, okay? Another reason why, can someone give me another reason why multifamily is getting very attractive these days?
A lot of millennials aren't buying homes. They'd
Yeah.
rather rent than purchase.
Yeah, it's funny, but you know, it's funny, because you know, like the old school way of thinking is the first thing you want to do is buy a home, right? Our kids, this last generation. Okay, we're circulating the sign-in sheet, okay, guys? And start circulating it. Okay, our kids are thinking less about buying a home, and they're thinking more about experiencing life.
Getting a dog. And like,
Does it make
Also
sense?
buried in student loan debt.
Yeah. So these days, it's less about the stability; it's more about the experience of life. They're living it.
And
Make
also
sense?
because lenders calculate student loan debt at 1% of the balance, and you can't qualify
Yeah,
if
a
you
lot
have
of them can't
$700 a month of
Yeah.
supposed student loan debt.
Yeah. So.
You can't take it with you.
Yeah, so because of that, multifamily is getting it's all the rage. Yes.
Maybe after 20 years, they are not able to buy in California.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that's why multifamily is getting pretty hot. Okay. All right, but in multifamily, like these days, like a lot of the new generation, they want to live within walking distance of all their amenities. They're more environmentally conscious. So they're less about driving the big old gas guzzlers and more about riding their bikes, right? They're more about public transportation. They're more about, doing a share rides. Does it make sense? We never would have imagined not owning a car. These days, the new generation, some don't even know how to drive. You know what I'm saying? Some just actually literally Uber everywhere they go, and they'll rent the bikes from place to place, drop off a bike, pick up a bike. It's not even their bike. And now the bikes have become scooters. And they're scootering all around. Does it make sense? Okay? The next wave is that humans won't drive anymore. They say the next wave, humans won't drive anymore.
Thank you, Jesus.
Avoid all car accidents. They're already putting a plan in downtown LA that in the next 10, 15 years, that all cars at a certain time in LA have to be self-driven, have to be auto-drive. Have you ever gotten a pizza delivered by a car that had no driver? You haven't seen that? Domino's is putting that out. It's pizza delivery where the cars deliver pizza to your door. They send you a text when you're at your door. You walk over to the car, you enter a code, and a pizza pops out of the car. Like a CD changer. Yeah.
Where is this happening?
Look online.
Where is this happening?
No, at the places they're already doing it. So. Hey, has anyone ever seen one of those auto drive cars drive next to you before? You have? I have. Where you look over, there's no one in the car. What, is it a real short person? Or is it? Yeah, if you go to the Bay Area, you'll see auto drive cars around. You know what I'm saying? From Tesla, from different companies. Yeah, so major cities in the future, your car has to be auto driven. You're not allowed to drive the car. You're in the car, but the car drives itself. Does that make sense?
For older people, that's
Takes away speeding, takes away a lot of stuff, okay? So that's the new wave, okay? So that's why multifamily makes a big difference. Okay, let's keep moving. All right, special use properties. Okay, special use properties. Some people will run into a special use property. Churches are special use properties. Churches normally, small little churches normally find themselves office spaces or even warehouse spaces and turn it into a church. You know, you'll see that. Okay, you'll see basketball facilities. You'll see, stadiums. You'll see, party halls. You'll see certain different types of special use property. Okay, so I mean, I just want. I don't have time to talk about special use properties too much today, but we have that. Okay. And then finally, another special use property is what we call hospitality. Okay, hospitality is wholesale, is hotel. Hospitality is actually a very big commercial sector, but hospitality actually has been sort of hit hard the past few years.
Yeah, Airbnb.
Yeah. It's funny, hospitality has been hit hard, not just because of Airbnb. I think it's also because people, they're just a little bit traveling less. You know what I'm saying? And they're staying at hotels less. And then because a lot of things, believe it or not, a lot of traveling is for your business. But these days, a lot of business can be conducted on the cloud. Does that make sense? A major feeder for hotels is actually people traveling in for business. Does that make sense? Because there's only so many areas in any state that actually has tourist locations. Does that make sense? I mean, there's LA for Disneyland and that stuff. There's San Francisco for the Bay. But other than that, in California itself, there's not a lot of tourist destinations. Does it make sense? Okay? So the major hotels, if you depend on tourism, there's only certain areas. Most hotel is for family coming in and for business. Does it make sense? For family coming in and for business. These days, a lot of business can get things done in the cloud. You can basically have conferences seeing each other. You don't really do as many face-to-faces anymore. Does it make sense? Yeah. And so because of that, the hotel industry is taking a hit, and so a lot of the hotels, they have to change the way that they do business. They have to change the way they do business. Okay? And so when you're dealing with hotels, you got to understand, understand how hotels work. There's budget ones, there's mid-price ones, there's luxury ones, and extended stays. Like the budget ones is the Motel 6s, and like the small budget hotels. The mid-price ones are like the Best Westerns of the world. You know what I'm saying? The Comfort, Comfort Best Westerns, the Embassy, Gardens, and then of course the big ones, the luxury ones are the, and I spelled luxury wrong. I just noticed that. But the luxury ones are the Hiltons and the Westins and the Marriotts. Does that make sense? Okay. And then now there's a new hotel class called the extended stays. Obviously, extended stay America, and the extended stay ones, the ones where people will come in and stay for a while. They have full kitchens and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They have kitchens and stuff like that. So what does it cater to? Businesses is one of the main reasons why there's hotels. Obviously, vacations. There's rest stops. So you'll see the hotel right on the side of Highway 5 going to LA. So sometimes you have the rest. So there's three real categories of hotels, which is the business hotels. The business hotels would be a Hyatt, Hyatt downtown. Does that make sense? Vacation ones would be like, the Disneyland hotel, right? Would be a vacation spot. Rest stops would be the local motel, the Comfort Inn, that you know
Where
you're
all
on.
the truckers are.
Yeah, you're on like a frickin' 3-day journey across country, and hey, we're gonna stop right here. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's a rest stop type. Okay, and then there's franchise and independence. There's franchise and independence. Franchise would be a Comfort Inn, a Days Inn, a Best Western, and then an independent would be just an independent. Red roof right here. You know, does it make sense? Okay, that those are, you know, and then they all operate differently. You know, like for example, there's actually, when you're dealing with people buying a hotel, like franchised hotels, there's lenders that only lend on motel hotels that are franchises. There's lenders that only deal with franchise hotels. And they avoid certain franchises, or they give better financing to certain franchises than others. Does it make sense? So if you're a Hilton or you're something like that, you get really good rates sometimes from a lender. When if you're a I don't know, Counter Lodge or something, you might not get the same good rates. Does it make sense? So then they deal with different franchises. Does it make sense? Okay, you got it? Okay. So those are things you have to sort of understand. And breaking down the numbers and financials for franchises or for hotels are sort of hard. Okay, okay? Okay, so those are yeah. All right. So let's talk about the clients. Okay. So we've moved on from the actual types of properties. We're moving to the different types of clients. Yes.
Will you be going over the lending side for the commercial?
Oh yeah, we have a whole day just for lending. Okay, we have a whole day just for lending. You know, the 504C, the SBA program 7A, the conduit financing, regular financing. We'll go through all that. Okay. Commercial lending is actually not that difficult. Actually, it's easier than residential. Yeah.
Is it possible to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation?
No. Yeah, but you can see my videos.
Oh, okay, it will.
Yeah, but I don't send these PowerPoints out
Okay.
because I'm always changing them. That's why.
But there's a lot of information to process here,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have to go over it to
Yeah.
study it.
Yeah, just watch the videos and then take notes when you watch the videos.
How can I get the video?
Oh, Saruna will send it to you. Okay?
Don't you have these on YouTube too?
My 4-year-old version is on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're professionally done. Have you ever seen my videos on YouTube? It's a professionally done one. It's where I hired a camera crew and go videotape it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Has anyone seen my YouTube ones? Yeah. Yeah, so my YouTube ones are professionally done. So I'm on YouTube. Every week I have someone from another state calling to see if they could join my company. But I just can't hire them. But I'm on YouTube. A lot of views. Okay? All right. So clients. Okay, we have many types of clients we represent. So your job is, if you have no clients, you make no money. Okay? So let's talk about the different clients that you'll be finding and you'll be looking for. Okay? All right. So, example, I'll give you an example. Tom Daves from Keller Williams. When during a certain time in the marketplace, he had been able to close 200 or 300 transactions in a year. If you're able to close 200 or 300 transactions in a year by yourself, that's because you work with a certain type of client. Yeah. Okay? Warren Adams. You know, his client, or Randall Hum, or Zaretha Thompson. Okay? Those people, their client are institutions. Warren Adams is REO. Does that make sense? When the market goes down, he's so happy. Because, why? Because he knows that he's going to have thousands of deals. Thousands. I remember at any given time during the big foreclosure boom, he always had minimum 200 or 300 listings at one time, at any given time. Not 2 or 3, 200 or 300. Does it make sense? These are institutional clients. Okay? Give an example. You know, if you represent a REIT, Okay, REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. If you represent a fund, if you represent any type of those institutional investors, okay, they might say, we want to buy $300 million in real estate in this area. Your job is to do analysis, find the best $300 million worth of real estate, and you just help them make all the offers and they start buying. Does that make sense? Okay, that's the high level client. You might represent a franchise. You might represent a big real estate investment trust that has working with $3 billion. Okay, those are the type of things. You might be representing a country. Like for example, we have a client here that the client is an investment group from a different country. Every 6 months or so, they buy like a $10 million shopping center from this one agent. So every 4, 5, 6 months, he'll get like a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 commission.
Can you move
Oh.
there? So sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys understand that? So when you work in commercial, there's different types of clients. Yes, the first type of client you could work with is the individual investor. Okay? The first type of client you could work with is called the individual investor. Let me ask you something. Is this hard to find? Are individual investors hard to find? Now this portion of the class is important. You know why? Because in residential real estate, one of the problems I see in residential realtors is that you don't know where your clients are. If you're not selling 3, 4, 5 homes a month in real estate, you're doing something wrong. Okay? I have a coaching class on Thursdays. Now, I told my group, I am not here this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday I'll be back. And I have a coaching class on Thursdays. So just so everyone knows, because I'm doing the 8-week commercial certification, my coaching, I just do a 1-hour coaching during Sadrudan's tech training every Thursdays from 12 to 1. That's focused just on production coaching. Does that make sense? Who was at my coaching last Thursday? Raise your hand. How was it? Great. Okay, good. So because I'm doing an 8-week commercial series for the agents that are coming in, if you want some more direction on production, then come on Thursday, 12 to 1. But just not this Thursday, I'm gone. But the following Thursday, 12 to 1, I'm doing coaching, okay? But a lot of the coaching is you gotta identify your client. So in commercial, I'm gonna tell you something. And we're gonna be working a lot of that when you break into groups, okay? Concentrations. Finding clients, okay? That should never be a hurdle for you. You always should be able to find a client. The reason I say that is where there's a deal, there's a group of clients wanting to buy that deal. Does that make sense? You guys got that? We had a $4.8 million listing in Redwood City, and the moment the sign came up, within a week or two, we had 7 or 8 cash offers. Okay? When there's a deal, clients will flock in to buy it. Does it make sense? So your job, just like I told you a few weeks ago about, that little thing about the Mercedes-Benz. I told you that when there's a deal, there's always someone who wants to buy the deal. So if you want to work with individual investors, finding them is very easy. It's just people with money. Okay? So work hard to find the deal. If you're a shopping center group, you know what we're going to do is we're going to pull up shopping centers that are on the market and shopping centers that are not yet on the market, but it seems like they have bad mom and pop tenants, okay, that are underperforming. The ones that are on the market, we break down the numbers, make sense of them, and start bringing the deals to people to see if they're interested in that shopping center. These are, you know, when I used to sell my properties, when I used to do real estate, every morning my job is to find the best deal. Most of the time, the deal was right on MLS. Does that make sense? The thing is that when you're my retail group and we're going to focus in this area, I'm going to sit you guys down and say, everyone, as a group, analyze all the retail shopping centers and tell me what you guys think is the best 5 deals of all the shopping centers in this one range. And then once we find once we determine these are the 5 best shopping centers that are on sale right now, then your job is to bring these 5 best shopping centers, especially the number 1, and let's get it sold for them. Let's find a buyer that fits it. Let's reach out to people with money in the Bay Area. Let's reach out for existing neighbors, and let's say, hey, you know, would you like to buy this shopping center? We have analysis broken down where we think you can make $3 million if you do this on this shopping center. Does that make sense? And we take it to people. You know, there's people that wake up every morning not thinking they're going to buy a shopping center, but they have $20 million sitting in their bank that they're collecting, you know, 1% interest on. If we could show them that buying this $10 million shopping center can bring their return from 1% to 10%, I think they'd listen. You guys understand that? Right? I think they'd listen. I bet you, all of you, plenty of you, know people that have the means to buy a $3, $4 million shopping center if it was a great deal, right? The problem is you don't even know if it's a great deal or not because you don't know how to break down the deal. So once you're part of the group, we're going to learn how to break down every property that's on the market and see which properties are undervalued. And then we're going to take the project to a buyer, and if they don't buy it, so what? Find other people that'll buy it. Pretty soon, bringing these deals to people become a habit. While you're looking, one of the things that we're going to do is that when you're part of, let's say, the retail group or the office group or the multifamily group, we're going to break down possible purchases and we're going to take them to current owners, right? Because what did I say in my class? Who buys apartment complexes? The other people that own apartment complexes, right? Who buys shopping centers? The other shopping center owners, right? Who buys car washes? Current car wash business owners. You guys understand that? See, the people that buy a certain type of building are people that are already familiar with running that type of building. You own a mini storage, you go to current mini storage owners because they already know how to run a mini storage. You understand? But then at the same time, while you're sitting down showing the building owner that there's another great building, the building owner is going to ask a question of you. You know what the question is? What do you think my building is worth? Is my building underperforming? You showed me that their building is underperforming. What do you think of my building? What do you think my building is worth? You guys are so good at breaking this down. You know, hey, while you're out there talking to people about buying, selling, buying this other building, why don't you tell people that I'm willing to sell my building for the same price and it's a better deal? Oh, really? Are you willing to sell your building too? Great. You know, we'd market your building, but we need to take a listing on it. Would you be willing to let us sell it? You know, take a 1-year listing and let us put our feelers out for you. We'll be approaching all the other, but yeah, because my family, we've owned this building for the last 30 years. We want to retire. Can you list my building? Yeah, I'll list your building. 15 million done. Does it make sense? That's how the conversation starts. You guys understand what I'm going to have you guys do? You see? Okay? That's how you build that relationship. You don't just call building owners that can I come meet with you. For what? What are you going to meet with me for? Oh, I wanted to show you 3 or 4 shopping centers that are sort of like yours that I think are well underpriced. And you can make some big money on those shopping centers. Oh, which one? No, we have to show you in person. We're also meeting with some of the other building owners too. Can we show you what we have? Of course. What building owner who's interested in possibly expanding won't sit and listen? Does that make sense? I would listen. If you had something good to show me. Okay, I'll give you 30 minutes. Okay, come on in. Yeah. And then you come in as a team, present it to them. You guys understand? Okay? All right, so the first type of client is the individual investor. All right? That's going to be your first type of client that you're going to try to win. How are you going to do it? Easy. We're going to start doing homework and analyzing the areas. If you're multifamily, then you're going to analyze all the best multifamily deals. If you're in retail, you're going to analyze all the best retail deals. If you're in office, you're going to analyze all the best office deals. If you're in gas station, good luck. There's never one available. You know, man, gas station literally is one of the hardest things to buy. Man, Ginger probably has half a dozen clients looking to buy a gas station. We can't even find one. Okay, and when the one is found, 10 offers get to put on one, all cash.
There's
You know?
one on Folsom Boulevard that's been sitting empty for 3 years.
That's because something's wrong.
They took everything out, it's flat right now, just land flat.
They tore it down?
Yes.
No, people who know gas station, we know everything that's out there, okay? So, no, I mean, there's something wrong. There might be such contamination issues, it will never be a gas station again. So that, it's just certain things, okay? Certain things.
But people made a lot of money last 5-6 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, gas station's gone up in value so much. If you own a gas station now, you're in good shape, okay? One of those little tiny Arco stations you see, never worth less than $5 or $6, $7 million, ever. Okay? Yeah, never worth less than $4, $5, $6 million, never. Big Chevron station worth like 10, 12, 13 million, easy. Okay? All right? Yeah, so those are the clients. What do clients buy? Standalone retail. Standalone retail, little shopping centers, small apartment complexes, you know, duplexes, fourplexes, small individual investors. They'll buy they'll buy small build-to-suits and lease them out to doctors. Yes.
How do you find like land developers?
Huh?
Land developers.
Oh, easy. How do you think you'd find land developers?
We'll find the other land developer, or the other.
Yeah, pull up the permits and see who are putting them in, and then those are the same people that those are the same exact people that is going to develop more. Does that make sense? Right? You know, I'll tell you, it's funny, but commercial real estate leaves lots of crumbs for you to follow. It's just you don't follow them. Does that make sense? You have a good piece of land that needs to be developed? Easy. You just go down and see all the people that pull permits and call them and say, hey, are you interested in this land too? A lot of time their team is already there developing one side, might as well develop the other side. You understand? Okay? You see, this business leaves a lot of crumbs. Okay? But I'm telling you, women and minorities have always been afraid to play this game. Women and minorities have always been afraid to play this game. I'm about to change that. Okay? I'm about to change that. But you got to be brave and bold. And you got to work twice as hard. Does that make sense? And you have to work twice as hard. Okay? But it doesn't mean you can't kill it. Okay? It doesn't mean you can't kill it. All right. Next are joint ventures. Because we're talking about the type of client that you're looking for. The next type of client are LLCs, corporations, okay? And you want to work with some of them. These LLCs, corporations, buy $2 to $5, $10 million properties all the time. You want to find these people. You want to find these people. These small joint ventures. Does that make sense? How do you find these joint ventures? One way is really easy, is because you just pull up existing buildings they own. A lot of joint ventures, they do not form a corporation or some kind of entity to buy one property only and then leave it at that. You guys understand that? Yes? I don't start some kind of corporation with you if I want to stop at buying one property. If that's the case, I might as well just, you know what I'm saying? So normally these joint ventures, they want to buy multiple properties. So you know what you do is you call them and say, hey, what are you guys looking for? That's it. Hey, I saw that you bought this building. What type of properties do you guys buy? Oh, we buy these types of properties. Great. What type of properties do you like? Oh, we're looking for fixer-uppers, you know? Oh, we're looking for properties that have, you know, at least like 6 cap, good cash flow. Because I'll tell you, there's a way in this business that if you find those underperforming properties, that make sense, you know that you could take it to an institutional investor and they'll buy those properties from you all day long. That's the next type of client I'm talking to you, I'm going to tell you about. Just so you know, there's funds that have $100 billion to work with, okay? When you find a deal that meets the requirement of those funds, you call them, they have a packet for you to fill out and send information to them, and if it matches what they're looking for, they'll buy them all day long from you. Does that make sense? When we get our teams together, I'm going to have you find deals. But then, at the same time, I'm going to have you learn about 4 or 5 institutional investors that buy your type of property. Then, you're going to go and call down to those institutional investors and see what are their guidelines. And one thing you're going to do every single week is find properties that meet that guideline and see if they want to buy it. You guys understand that? Because these institutional investors, their eyes aren't everywhere in the United States. Okay? Of course, they're already being represented by like a CBRE, and they're probably already working with some people from CBRE. So then, how do you find them properties that they don't already know about? Easy. As you're talking to people that own those types of properties, you ask them, hey, are you interested in selling your property at all? If you could break down the numbers and the numbers make sense, you could help almost anyone sell their property, if it makes sense. Does it? You got it, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you're going to do in commercial real estate. Of course, you know, we're in an industry where 90% of the money is made by 10% of the population. So ultimately, this sort of means that by statistics, 9 out of 10 of you won't really do very well. Okay? But the beauty is if all of you decide that, you know, you want to give this a shot, 1 out of 10 of you will become a multimillionaire. So if there's 50 people in this room, 5 of you are going to be multimillionaire. Hopefully, it's 1 of you. Does that make sense? Now, here's the beauty of it, though. The beauty of it is that there is a potential that more than 10% of you will be successful in this. You know why there's a potential that more than 10% of you will be successful? Is because you, number one,
we're learning from you.
Yeah, you're learning from me. You know, that's one. But another reason why is that your disadvantage is your advantage. Is that there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for you guys to make a killing in commercial, because all of you, this is the first phase of Berkshire Hathaway getting out there expanding the brand. So let's say, for example, you go to Dubai and you have 10 car dealerships and they all sell Beamer. And you are the very first Tesla dealership in Dubai. I think that a lot of you will have a chance to be a good salesperson because you're the only one selling Tesla. Does that make sense? If you're in a mall, if you're in the mall and everyone is selling Louis Vuitton, and you happen to be Chanel, and you go into the mall and you're the only one selling Chanel, chances are I think you'll be pretty successful. Well, right now, in the commercial industry, okay, I'm telling you, and you got to see it this way. Everyone has been selling C.B. Richard Ellis for the last 80 years. Everyone has been selling Cushman & Wakefield. Everyone has been selling Collier's. Everyone's been selling JLL. Everyone's been selling those brands. But no one has been selling Berkshire Hathaway, which is the #3 brand in the world. in commercial in this region until now. Does it make sense? Of course people will still use CB Richard Ellis. Of course. But if there's 4 shopping centers in a town, and CB Richard Ellis is already marketing 1, the other 3 not necessarily want CB Richard Ellis to market their shopping center. Why?
Competition.
Because how do I know all the best tenants are coming to me? If I'm a shopping center owner and there's 4 regional centers in one corner, and CBRE is already marketing 1, and they're the ones that got Walmart and we didn't, they're the ones that got the anchor and we didn't, I'll be pissed. How do I know they're not have a better relationship with that owner? See, people need choices, right? Why do you think on the street there's Remax, there's Berkshire, there's Keller, and there's Coldwell Banker? Why? Because if Coldwell Banker is already listing the home across the street from me, I'm not sure if I want them to list mine. Because what if all the client goes to them? Does that make sense? So they want choices. And we happen to be Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 choice. Does it make sense? So another reason why hopefully the ratio is better than 1 out of 10 is because it's brand spanking new. It's because you'll be the first, you know, whatever, Vietnamese person in the area representing Berkshire Hathaway. So it could be the first woman in the area. It could be whatever, but no matter what, you'll be the first Berkshire Hathaway in that area. So you have a lot of advantages. But then at the same time, it still comes with hard work. Does that make sense? You can have all the advantages in the world. You could be a basketball player that's 7'5", but you don't have the hard work ethic. You're still on the bench, or you're still not playing in the league. Okay? So commercial is a big league game. It's a big league game. It's your job to be good in it and take it seriously. Okay? Does that make sense? Unfortunately, realtors normally, on average, make very good part-time people. It's only a small handful of people that are great full-time realtors. Does that make sense? So commercial, there's no such thing as a part-time commercial agent. You know, if you do it, you do it. If you do it, you're serious about it. Okay? These clients, like joint ventures, partnerships, those guys, they know if you're a fake or not right away. Right away, they know if you're a fake or not. Does that make sense? Because most of these people have been in the business for as long as I have. And those are the people you're dealing with. Make sense? That's why you need to deal with a team. That's why a lot of times when there's a deal, I'm part of that deal with you. Because I'm that backbone that you'll need to get the deal accepted, or else they'll never work with you. They talk to me, chances are I'll close it. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, so those are the joint ventures. And then finally, it's the institutional investor. So 3 types: the individual, the partnerships, the joint ventures, and now these are the institutional investors. Okay. If you one day can get one of these groups to work with you, that could be your retirement. Period. That can be your retirement. Does it make sense? Okay. That by itself could be your retirement. Hey, Sadruddin, can you ask to see if our guest speaker is here yet? Okay.
I never got like the sign in.
Okay. Where's the sign-in sheet?
Nobody.
Oh, can you guys pass the sign-in sheet forward? Here, pass it all the way forward. I'll start right here. You.
Right. They've been holding on to it.
Yeah.
Oh, they've been just holding it?
Yeah. No, people sign in. Okay. Give me a second. I'm not ready yet.
Right.
I will be in a minute. Okay.
I signed it. It's open.
Okay. I'm gonna start here. Just gradually pass it all the way back. Don't take it and pass it straight back. Just have it circulate around. Okay. We still have plenty of time. All right. So the next type of client is the institutional investor. This is the client that you get one of these, you're done. But I wanted to label it out for you so you know where to find them. Okay? Pension funds are big. I knew someone that represented a union.
Wow.
Okay? I knew someone that represented a union. And they bought all types of property. Pension funds buy all types of properties. Okay? Life insurance companies buy all types of properties. REITs or real estate investment trusts or big investment groups, portfolio advisors, fund managers, investment bankers, and brokers. Okay? They buy all types of properties. If you represent just one, I mean, like the #1 agent in the nation for Keller Williams happens to be up here in Roseville, Tom Daves, right? Is that right? And he works with a big hedge fund. When they bought, they were buying hundreds of properties. When they sold, they were selling hundreds of properties. So you want to work with one client, or you want to work with 100 clients? If your clients are buying 100 properties a year from you and selling 100 of their properties a year, that's 200 deals for you every year. Does that make sense? Okay? And on top of that, these big companies for an area, they don't want to work with 10 different people. They just want to work with one or one team. That's it. You see? So if you're able to get in the door with one of these groups, then man,
How do you get in the door with these groups?
huh?
How do you get in the door with these groups?
Easy. You bring them a deal
Berkshire
first.
Hathaway.
You what?
And we're Berkshire Hathaway.
I didn't hear what you said before. Easy, what?
You bring them deals. And the moment they're comfortable working 1 or 2 deals with you, they'll ask you for more. You know what I'm saying? You bring them deals.
Would you be covering one day how to bring foreign investors? into the
Huh?
game? Foreign investors.
Okay. You know that there's foreign investment summits all over the world. You guys understand that? There's a India summit. There's a China summit that we went to. Who went to the China summit with me? I know Joanne in the back went to the China summit with me. It's called LPS, Luxury Property Showcase. There are investment summits that are all over the world. Like for example, this is the next investment summit right here. I'll show you. Okay, since you asked, I might as well answer because I have the answer for that. Okay. Okay. So here, LPS. Okay. For example, this is the 2019. It's December in Shanghai. There's 12,000 VIP buyers. In order to even go to the event, you have to qualify. You have to send your financials. So you have to be, worth whatever millions of dollars in order to even go into the event. Does it make sense? And so if there's a group of you that want to go, then you could just pay the fee. I have to let Berkshire Hathaway know, and then you could go and take a spot. So it's up to you. But then you have to know what you want to sell. But there's a lot of these kinds of shows all over the world. Because I'll tell you something, okay? I'll tell you something so here's the luxury summit. Here's the actual show. You see, it's the elite investors in China. 12,000 people come to this event. And it's big. It's a big event. And you work the booth. And then they have the Beijing one. There's one in India. There's one in Europe, UK. These shows are everywhere, okay? But ultimately, how it all works is, okay, let's see. Okay, oh, here we go. Okay, so basically how it all works is that, this is, if you're looking for people who want to invest in other countries, you just go to the country, they'll have a show, you attend the show, while you're there, you meet people. Does it make sense? You meet people. A lot of times I find that the people to work with the companies that work with other countries are actually travel companies. Travel companies. Or they arrange client travel to come, and then they work with you, and if you work with them, say, hey, send me all of your travel investors that travel to America because they want to buy. I could pick them up at the airport in San Francisco, show them all real estate property, and be a tour guide for them. Does that make sense? Yeah, because there's something going on. Okay? And I guess it's very important for you to understand this. And this is very powerful information. Okay? This is very powerful information. Okay? There is a new type of global tax. All right? And there's a new global law that's coming out in the next 2 or 3 years that's taking place. And I'm going to give you a preview, but I have a class on it, okay? But there's a new global pact that's being put together by almost all the countries. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about. What am I talking about?
I think it's RE or something.
Huh?
It's RE or.
What's that? Okay, so I'll go over it a little bit later, okay? But they're basically, just to recap, there's a new global tax law. And the new global tax law requires all countries that are part of this group to report foreign assets back to the home country. Okay? So there is a new global pact that requires all the countries that are part of this pact to report foreign assets back to home country. Okay? I'll give you an example. If you are, and does anyone watch CNN and read the news? Because I read a lot. Does anyone do that? Has anyone been following all the protests going on in Hong Kong right now? Yes or no?
A little bit.
So someone tell me, what's going on in Hong Kong right now? Because in commercial, you're going to have to understand, and you always have to be watching Bloomberg, and you have to be watching, CNN. You got to be on top of it. Commercial people are always on top of the market. Okay, so what's going on in Hong Kong right now?
I think China's like trying to kind of strip away their independence and further, what do you call
Okay.
it? Bring them into China and making it easier for mainland to.
Okay. See, a lot of people in China, they actually moved over to Hong Kong, and these are the rich ones that moved their assets over to Hong Kong. Okay? There was a bill in place that allows China to call all these people back to China. Okay? And to be able to tax all their assets that they moved out. Because you know that China, for some time now, don't allow you to take money out of China. So it's very hard to take more than a certain amount of money out of China. You guys know that, right? Okay? So because of that, okay, there's the new bill that's being, there's a new pact worldwide that basically says that these countries will report all of your assets back to your home country. Let's say, for example, for the last 20 years, your family has been buying real estate in a shelter country. Let's say you've been buying real estate in Switzerland, right? And you have all this money in your Swiss bank accounts, or in your Bahamas account, or your Virgin Islands account. And then all of a sudden now, coming up here soon, these countries will now tell your country, oh, by the way, they have $100 million in our country that belongs to your citizen. So there will be a tax on all the money that you have in other countries, and there's going to be audits on why didn't you claim, where did that money come from? Okay, does it make sense?
People need to sell.
Okay, so
Why does one country get to take money from what's happening in other countries?
no, because there's a law. There's a law. The law is that if you're a citizen from one country, when you make money, you have to file it in taxes to your own country.
But if it's in Switzerland, why?
Then they're called tax evasion. They never even claim the money. Does it make sense?
Yeah, okay.
So this is what happens, okay? So there will never be. Hey, is it 1 o'clock already?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. Okay. Wait. Real quick. I have a guest. Someone to introduce you real quick. Is she here? Oh, okay. I have someone introducing you, and there's a little nice, and she's providing a little nice little lunch for everyone after this. Okay. So there's a little lunch waiting for you guys. But I want to introduce you. This is one of our great reps from one of the home warranty companies that we use. Please, why don't you tell yourself about that?
All right.
Okay. So, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Robert, for letting me come in today and supply you guys with some lunch out there and to talk about HomeGuard. So, do we have a lot of new agents out there? Yes.
There's quite a few.
Okay. Have some of you heard of HomeGuard? Yes. Okay. So, HomeGuard offers quite a lot of services. We do termite home roof inspections. We do natural hazards disclosures, and we do home warranties. So think of us as your one-stop shop. You give us one call, you've got all 3 of your inspectors can come at the same time. You actually save money as well, so you can get your roof for free. We have Saturday appointments at no extra cost. We also do not charge for crawling. We just this year added drone services. So our home inspector and our roof inspector are licensed through FAA to fly drones. So what they can do is they can take a look at that roof, the high pitched, maybe you have tile roofs, any of those. These will be able, 2-story, 3-story homes, the drones can take a really good look at the roofs and let you know the condition. Because a lot of times roof inspections, they can't get up that high. And if it's tile, they can't walk on the tile. And if it's a high, like a Tudor pitched or something home, they can't really climb on those as well. So that's a little bit about our home inspections. I am the HomeGuard rep. I've been doing this for about 2 years. I'm in and out of here. I know a lot of you guys use me or use HomeGuard. I thank you very much for that. My information is typically on the file cabinets over there, but if not, my business card's here as well. And then just real quick, our home warranty, 13-month plan. And with that comes limited roof leak coverage on all of it. And the second plan, it's called the Advantage Plan. Say there's secondary damage done to the home because your dishwasher's been leaking and your floors are messed up or your cabinetry, we will put $500 towards the homeowner's deductible to cover that. So that's a lot, considering most homeowners' deductibles could be up to $1,000. And then the other one I'd like to highlight is our deductible. So how many people out there maybe have had a home warranty? Your home warranty company goes out and does not cover it, and yet your client still has to pay that deductible.
Right.
Is that typically when they're upset? Yeah. We will waive it. So if we don't provide service, we don't charge the $75. We only charge the $75 if we actually perform work. So those are some things about our home warranty. I will be here if you have any questions or if you have any orders. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.